And call the meeting to order. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast, I guess, at a later date over public access channel 19 on the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. Is that right? .ma-gov. All right. So we have notice to award contract 12, which is the water tank storage for District H.
So I will just share my screen so you'll have the bid tab. All right.
Okay.
Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Oh boy, yeah.
I don't know. It's too
It's
small.
on my
but...
phone, so it's a little.
So as you mentioned,
but that's all right.
contract 12 is the storage tank at District H. So it's pretty much a copy of the first storage tank we have at District G. So this is off Nauset Road across from the Council on Aging. We had 4 bidders, the low bidder being CB&I at 5.6 million, which was $1 million lower than the second low bidder. And CBI, all their references came back good, and they were actually the contractor on the first tank in Eastham. So we have successfully worked with them on that tank. So it should be pretty straightforward then to work with them again.
All right. Jackie, do you want to remind everyone a little bit of what you, I guess it's probably on that sheet you're showing on my phone, but I can't really see it. How much was budgeted on that?
So we had budgeted close to 5 million. We were definitely surprised by the pricing. For reference, the first tank was around 2.4 million, and that was 2015. We put it out to bid and constructed it in 2016. So I think we did some investigations to make sure the pricing was legitimate. I mean, they were significantly lower than even the 2 middle bidders were in the 6s, and the highest bidder was even as high as 8. I think that's mostly attributed to just steel prices. Just there's so much work going on right now. Everything in construction is just skyrocketing. So it's nothing. Doesn't have to do with, say, like the design of the tank or the timing of the bid or anything like that. So it wouldn't be like if we bid it later, it'd be cheaper, or if we bid it differently. It's just kind of how it's worked out. But we are getting the money from SRF, increasing our amount to meet this total.
Yeah. Amy, I have a question.
Yeah, Jerry, go ahead.
Based on the original water project that was passed in 2015, I think, is when the full project was passed in town meeting in 2015. How much higher is this 5.6 than what we thought about for the second tower in 2015? I know you were looking at 5 and it came out 5.6, but what did we budget with that 140 when we did the $144 million project?
Jackie, I think that was what she was talking about, the 5 million.
Right.
Because they knew it would be higher.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jackie. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that's what we had asked for SRF. We thought it was a reasonable number, but
okay,
in terms of where we are with the appropriation, we're still well under
millions. Yeah, no, that I know. I'm really pleased with that. I was just a question because if the first one was 2.6 and that was over what we estimated, but we estimated a significant increase going into the second tank, because it was going to be quite a few years later. Is that how we how it was done? I don't know. I wasn't sitting on any of the boards at that time.
Right. So I think it was just using at that time, if it was original estimate, that would be around 2015, 2016. So it was trying to project out when we were going to bid the tank and a certain amount for inflation and just how things go up over time.
Okay. All right. Wait, thank you. So basically, this contract is going to be about 700 million, excuse, not million.
Thousand.
700,000 dollars over what we estimate just for this contract. Now, the whole system, we're below what we estimated, but this one contract is $600,000 to $700,000 over what we had estimated.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? All right. So Jackie, what was the name again of the contractor? CBI, is that what you said?
Yeah, CB&I.
CB&I. All right. All right. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve contract 12 for the District H storage tank to CB&I.
Second.
Do you have to say the amount, Amy, maybe?
I'll just say as presented. About.
That's okay.
I'll second it.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. We'll call the roll. Art,
Aye.
Jerry,
Yes,
is Suzanne there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Yeah, and yes.
Is that your vote? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And you said Jamie was not here.
Right.
correct.
Okay. All right. So that's 4-0. All right. We'll go on to contract 22, water mains.
Okay. So contract 22, it's the second to last water main contract. And it's about 30,000 feet of pipe, mostly 8-inch. And this bid came right about where we wanted, or where we thought it would be, but under the SRF appropriation. So the low bidder was Diggett Construction of South Dennis at 3.6 million. And Diggett is the contractor. They've been working in town straight since 2019, and they've won almost every single contract since contract 14. So we have a successful working history with them on
Yeah,
past
that's great.
contracts.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
That's
Any questions from the board?
Is it, what streets or what areas this contract cover, Jackie?
So this is the northern part of town, and now we're off to all of the side streets. So Wes, correct me if
Okay.
I'm wrong, but I
Like-
think off like North Sunken and Aspinet, pretty much.
Yes.
Meadow, quail, cover.
Middle.
sundowns,
Yep, I
um,
know where it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. I will make a motion that we award contract 22 to Diggett Construction for 3.6 million.
Second.
Three.
All right. Suzanne seconded. All right. Any more discussion?
Yeah,
All right,
it's 3,609,400.
Oh, sorry. I'll say as
$7.
presented then. I'll amend my motion.
Yeah. Yeah,
That 52 cents.
yeah, there's
Okay,
52
that's
cents
right.
there, yeah.
That's right. All right. All right. So is there any more discussion? All right. I'll call the vote. Jerry,
Yes,
Art,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and myself, I. So that's 4-0. All right. Contract 23. And I know this one, it's near me. It's out in the seashore properties.
yeah,
Yep, so contract 23 is Cable, Ocean View, Doan, Nauset Light, that area, so all the National Seashore area. And again, Diggett was the low bidder at around 2.8.
Okay. And hopefully people will be taking a lot of showers when they get out of the ocean down there, because that's two of our big beaches there.
Mhm.
So, all right. Is there any questions on contract 23?
Was this about where you thought it was going to come in?
Yes,
and it's below what we estimated back in 2015 or 2016.
yes, I mean, one thing we've kind of been doing, we had allocated 4 million for this contract and for the other one, but we've been able to move up roads throughout the years into up into the current contracts to save on pricing.
Right.
So basically the way we moved everything around, it's a lot shorter and smaller than our original estimate.
Well, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, I'll make a motion to approve or award contract 23 to Diggett Construction as presented.
Second,
All right, any more questions or comments? All right, call the vote. Art,
aye.
Jerry,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and myself, I, 4-0. All right, next we have the water meters.
They that thing with the directional so on the contract.
So
Yes.
for the water meters, we had an original contract in 2015 we put out to bid with the start of the system. And that contract has ended in the past year. So we needed to go out for a new contract. We did a Chapter 30B proposal as opposed to accepting the lowest price so that we could evaluate the different systems and choose which one worked best for the town. So after taking into consideration all the criteria and the different technology, FW Web was ranked highly advantageous. And their price came in at around 2.15. And that would be for a new customers on a new meter reading system that would provide better customer service, more leak alerts, a customer portal for residents to log into, and upgraded meter technology that can detect smaller leaks, more water usage. And that would be kind of the system that the town can move forward in and then be pretty much done with meter systems for the next 20 years. This technology is supposed to last.
So Jackie, does this replace the current meters that everybody has too?
Yes, these quantities. So we estimated an amount for what the new customers would be, but then we also included a total so that over time we could look at, because already, even though once you get close to 10 years, the technology is obsolete or the meters need to be replaced. So this would
Yeah,
also
amazing.
kind of cover everything.
But
Okay.
at this time, there's no plan. In other words, there's no plan to replace them. In other words, this allows us to replace them, but is there a scheduled plan to replace them?
Not necessarily. It's more that we'd know we had to, and then it would be moving forward to figure out how we want to go about it. If we want to put out another bid, get it done all at once, or we could just do it, pick it off a little bit at a time. That's the next decision.
I think it's
But we
more,
have
more of
the
an
meters.
intention.
It's just installing them. That's the would be the issue.
Right. And the other consideration is that pretty much with supply chain inventory, if by looking into this now and making the decision now, we'll have the meters in stock as opposed to the minute we order it could be 6 to 12 months minimum
Right.
to get them.
Okay.
So this is just for purchasing the meters, getting a stock for the town of Eastham. At some point in the future, if we have to replace meters for those that are currently in, the town has to either replace it on its own through staff or put out a bid to get those meters. The meters that we will have in storage, we grab it out of storage and put it in.
Exactly.
Going on?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Okay.
so in the previous two contracts we just did, is the cost of meter installation in those?
In these bids,
In the two water main contracts we just approved, is the cost of the meter is not the replacement for those new mains and new customers, is the cost of installing the meter in that?
no, that would be separate. Any new customers, they install the meter themselves.
Right.
So they install it.
And pay
Right.
for
I
a plumber
think-
to do it.
The plumber would. So
Yeah.
the meters that are currently getting installed have been procured under a previous meter, procurement contract. And the pipe contracts themselves never actually get into the realm of the meters themselves. We stop at the property line. And once the homeowner initiates the connection, they would, work with a contractor and private plumber whom would, procure the meter from us, and they would have it installed.
Okay, but, so anyway, we're gonna start doing a whole bunch of new water mains and water hookups. Okay, and the customers are gonna hook up. When they get ready to do that, okay, are we giving them these new meters, or we're gonna give them what's left of the old meters?
If the new meters are in, I'm guessing we're gonna give them the new meters.
Right.
And that was part of the evaluation criteria. We chose web also because the minute the contract gets signed, they have meters for new customers available. They won't have thousands the next day, but they'll have hundreds in a local warehouse that we can get.
Do we know how much it costs for somebody to replace their current meter?
Typically, if you wanted to go out with a bid to get an installer, the prevailing wage rate for a meter installer right now is $100 an hour. And it will take, usually they do 20-minute appointments.
Okay.
Right.
And-
Now,
and
do
one-
we,
One last question, what are you gonna do with the old meters that are left over that you don't install because you're now installing new meters?
Well, we did time it, so I think we only have about 100 left.
Okay, thank you.
We've been very cautious with kind of only ordering what we need, knowing that we were going to come to this point of, looking at a new meter program.
Okay, thank you.
now,
Got it.
I have a question, Amy.
Go ahead, Jerry.
If my memory's right, if a year after the water in your area is running through, if you hook up, the town provides the meter, not the installation, but provides the meter at no cost. We'll do these the same, that will continue?
Yes.
Once,
It'll continue that way with the new contracts. But the previous contracts, we're gonna have to decide whether or not we want to pay, have the homeowner pay to have a new meter put in, or will pay to have the new meter put in. I think that's what Jackie was saying, maybe an RFP that would,
Yeah, I
designate
understand.
replacement of meters and some plan for that, but that's not, we're not talking about that yet. But we'll
Okay.
have to come up with some plan to maybe we just do it by the phases we've done. We break it up that way so that it flows with the oldest meters getting replaced first and so on.
Yeah, and another one of the meters that we like to focus on are those being used in commercial applications like, Cumberland Farms and these type, because those are not only, heavy users, but they tend to be some of the first ones that get kind of
Yeah. Overused or worn out. Yeah.
Need to be replaced.
Yeah. Okay. But that's another discussion, whether or not we want to pay for that, since we do have some extra money. Maybe we do, but that's for another day to talk about how.
Yeah.
How we go about that. Okay. Any other questions on this? All right, I'll go ahead and make the motion to award the water meter contract to FW Webb as presented.
A second,
All right, any more discussion?
Yes, I have one.
Jerry?
In section 3.2 of this contract, if there's a delay, the English says that the contractor will pay $1,500 per day, and the Arabic paren says 1,000.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
So we have to change that Arabic paren to 1,500. It's just a typo.
Yeah.
I think legally the English supersede
Overrules.
the Arabic, but Arabic numbers, but let's get them in
Okay.
sync.
All right, did everybody catch that? Kim and
Yep.
Jackie and
Mhm.
Wes,
Yep.
whoever needs to type that in, probably Kim is my guess. All right, any more questions or discussion? All right, I'll call the vote. Art,
Aye.
Jerry,
Yes,
Suzanne,
Yes,
myself, I. 4-0. Do we have any other business?
I have one question for Rich. You were going to start looking at, Rich, starting a study to take a look at pricing and how we do that, as these are the last contracts we're getting near there. Have you begun that staff study or not?
Well, we begun it as of a couple weeks ago when I met with Wes and Jackie to go over these bid results, and we talked that out, and I'm coordinating that with the DPW and Kim and John Ruffley. So over the next month or two, we're gonna do some data collection, and I'm sure Wes and Jackie and Kim and I will meet again, and then we'll kind of, with that data, kind of talk about how we want to approach that. So
Is this,
it's
are
in
you
the
talking
works.
about water
Thank you.
rates?
Water rates.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, thank you, Rich.
And what might be a discussion, how fine-tuned do you want a water rate study?
Mm.
And what's the timing of that? I mean, maybe you want something that's more finely tuned, but maybe you don't need that for next year. But perhaps there's a case to be made that it's justifiable to go up because we know that it, likely needs to go up now that we're completing construction and we'll be having a capital plan coming on board. And we haven't gone up since the inception of the project. So now that we have more than, I forget the percentage, but certainly more than 50% of the connections connected, a nominal increase in the interim might be in order until we
Right, and that-
finalize a rate study.
Yeah, and that might even, cover this water meter.
Right, that's a capital project. That could be
Right,
viewed as
like if
capital.
maybe that's what your increase is going toward, funding that in the future to have those installed, so that there's no direct cost maybe to the homeowner, but it's spread out to everybody.
So that's kind of thing, then doing a rate study, it's not just the operating costs, it's the capital. So those are the types of things we need to know. So if there's an inclination to want to have meter replacement as part of the capital plan, then I need to know that. So we fit that into the rate structure as part of the cost structure. So that's why I say you might be inclined to increase the rates a certain amount, say 3% or something in the interim, knowing that ultimately it's going to have to go up, but then we can, over the next year, fine tune exactly what a draft of a capital plan looks like, and then make any additions so that you have a more well-defined increase after that.
Got it.
It's almost like two bites at the apple, so you don't get one big spike all in one year type of thing. The only other thing I'll say, Jackie, we had talked about our bond authorization capacity, and so I'd have spoken to our financial advisor and sent me that information. So when we do have a chance to get together, I'll share that with you. And with the values of these contracts, we can now kind of identify, as Jerry's point, when you started asking those questions about where is the budget in relation to the authorization with the additional costs for the roads and all that stuff. We'll start honing in now that we're getting closer to wrapping up.
Right.
And can I ask a water question too, since you're here, to the audience? So once this project concludes, is the town going to make a water department, or is it going to continue to be contracted out, or are we not there yet?
You mean for billing and other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Oh,
for
Yeah,
like
I mean, that's something we have to
operations.
talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not there yet. I think right now the idea was that we have Whitewater under contract as the operator. Been doing a good job, and I think during construction we don't want to kind of change horses midstream. So once we close the book on construction, I think the town can explore, what they want to do and try to decide what makes the most sense for them.
And I think a big part of that, and Wes, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure you've dealt with this in other communities, but the nature of the service or the services you're asking them to provide, the scope of services, I guess, could change once it's finally constructed. So maybe we take on some of the things, but still want to retain an outside service. Because honestly, the biggest challenge is making sure you have the appropriate staffing with the appropriate licensing. And, that might not be reasonable to expect us to maintain on an ongoing basis, but an organization that does this, generally is going to have the licenses available when you need them.
Awesome. All right, any other business questions? Preferences?
I'll
All right.
make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second,
all right, a motion and a second. We'll call the roll. Jerry,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
Suzanne,
yes.
myself, I.